So 90 points of PowerPoint suck. The big red part, he says, is the suck part. And he's probably right, because most of them that we have to sit through in law enforcement, whether it was the academy or now, right, most of them suck because people just don't know how to design them right, because they're experts at being cops. They're not experts at designing PowerPoint. Right? We expect you as instructors to do the same thing as a tenured professor, right, that has 8 years of higher education, all about education. And we're going to give you a week or two course on some skills, and we expect you to do the same thing, to educate people the same way. And of course, the people you educate have the authority to take away liberties and lives. Right? And the reality is you can do it, but it's going to take a little bit more effort on your part. This is an actual PowerPoint slide from the Army. Right? General McChrystal had all the Allied forces together about 4 years ago, and they were showing them where Afghans stood at the time. So he had all these leaders from the free world. The first slide that pulled up was this, and this private contractor started trying to explain this slide to the leaders of the free world's military. So these are all 4-star generals, right? And General McChrystal actually stood up and said, if you can explain that slide to us, we will have won the war. And he took all the leaders and they left and never watched another slide. And he apologized to them, right? How would that ever make sense? And you know how long that had to have taken? You know how proud that guy probably was of that slide? But understand that your slides are not for you. If you're only making them so they look cool to you, it's a mistake. You need to make them so they look cool and are effective for the audience. If you can understand that, then you're ready to be a 4-star general apparently. Because they can't understand that. You're one step above them already. Hey, that's insane. Insane. Okay, a couple pictures of victims in villages of being bombed, or now you have a new school for girls and people are being educated. That would tell them more about what's happening in Afghanistan than this thing will ever tell. Would you agree? And understand there's a lot of our slides that we have filled with text that one picture will tell more of the story. And it will remind us of what to say, more than all the text on the slide. So here's what not to do. So I'm going to teach you everything what not to do on slides in one slide. Do not try to put too many words onto each slide of your PowerPoint presentation. Just use short points and not complete sentences or thoughts. Otherwise, your slide will become completely filled with words. You should not use your slides as your notes, causing you to turn your back to the audience and read them word for word, which also causes you to become monotone. Otherwise, your audience will become annoyed, much like all of you are at this point in my presentation. That's what happens. Because if I have to read these slides, of course, I automatically turn my back to the audience the whole time. There's nothing wrong with turning your back to the audience to glance at something. Okay? But if I'm just going to sit here and read the slides off to you, right, and that happens, I'm sure everybody has been in plenty of those classes, then I would rather the person just go ahead and print them out for me and let me go home because I can read them myself. Right? The information for the class should not come from these slides. They should come from me. Right? The other information should come from the people in my class. You know how much experience we have in here? There's a lot of experience. I'm not going to point out the gray-haired guys because they have more, but there's a lot of experience in here. Okay? Apparently they know who they are. The thing is there's so much experience in this classroom that even when you're teaching cadets, they have all kinds of life experiences. I'm always amazed at the ones that don't want anybody to find out they work at McDonald's. I always tell them you're more prepared to be a cop than somebody who works as a security guard. I mean, you work that drive-thru window at McDonald's, you have to put up with idiots, right? They act like complete idiots, and you don't even get to arrest them like you do once you're a cop. They don't think that's the full job. They're already programmed to be able to deal with those kind of stresses just from working the drive-thru job. Right? So they have experiences, even if it's a cadet class, that can really add into the class. And I've had instructors before that said the cliche because they're supposed to, I always learn something from the class. But when an instructor never asks one question or has anybody discuss anything, how would he have ever learned anything from us? If all I do is talk, I can never learn. And if nobody else in the audience talks, there's no chance that you learn. And even during the breaks, I already had a couple people give me a couple other sites I didn't know about that we'll add to the website for people. I mean, you never get to the point where we think we have it all, or we know what we're doing, but we do this right, and I've done this plenty. I put everything on there because I don't want to sit there and read my notes. So I say, well, I'm not reading my notes because it's on the slide, but then I'm just reading the slide, and it is my notes. Okay? It shouldn't be. This is actually Ohio's instructor skills PowerPoint. So they actually made a PowerPoint for that, unlike everything else. So in this PowerPoint, it talks about using videos and images. Do you see any? That's what this is. This is our instructor skills PowerPoint. So they put this together, and then they were really proud because they said, now we made an entire PowerPoint for the instructor skills program. So if you teach it, here's the PowerPoint. I would not use this thing to teach anybody. Right? When I showed you the first 2 slides in the Prezi, I already had more pictures than this entire PowerPoint. And then one picture they had at the beginning is one of those 1980s looking clip arts that came from Microsoft. Right? It has absolutely nothing to do with law enforcement. It's a birthday cake. No joke. This is my state I'm cracking on. Understand this is old. This is the current slideshow for instructor skills. You think I use it? I mean, I'm never using this.